Hey there, crafty friends. It's Tina from the Scrappin Rabbit blog. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel today. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing a tutorial on how to create a box card with no flaps that is an A6 size. Now, to get started, I wanted to just share with you the difference between an A2 envelope and an A6 envelope. So this A6 size is going to be bigger than just your standard A2 size card, and see how it's going to fit just perfectly in this A6 size. So I like my cards a little bit bigger than the A2, and so this template that I created works out perfectly to get me a little larger size of a card, and I can do so much more with it, especially with the larger images. So let's get started. So I'm going to be using La La Land Crafts products, the Poodles of Love clear stamp, the scalloped rectangles die. I'm also going to be using the double stitched Hills border die, along with the mushroom and grass borders die. And I'm going to cut out the little flowers here from the flower bunch die. So I went ahead and I cut out all of my pieces in advance, but let me share with you all the measurements. You're going to need to cut out these two rectangles, 6.5 inches by 1 3/4 inches. These are basically going to make the box part of your card. You're also going to need to cut out what I call the little bridge pieces, and these are going to stretch across the center of that box card. They're 5 by 3/4 inches high. And we're going to be scoring these here in just a few minutes, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Next, you're going to need what I call the reinforcement pieces. These are going to be glued over those bridge pieces, and they're just shy of 4 inches by about 1 inch tall. And they just need to be slightly smaller than 4 inches so that they fit on the inside of your box card, which is 4 inches wide. So now that you have these pieces all cut out, you're also going to have the rectangle piece that's going to fit in the back. This measures 4.5 inches high by 4 inches wide. And then I cut out 2 layering pieces just to fit right inside there, 4 1/4 by 3 3/4, and the scalloped rectangles die works perfectly for this. Now I went ahead and already stamped the sentiment for the back side of my card, and here you can write your personal message. And then on the front side of the card, I did the inking, and that's what you are going to see from the front. So those are some of the main pieces. The decorative layers, I used some La La Land Crafts pattern paper, and so you're going to cut those to fit on the front using these measurements here, 2 for the side, 1 for the front, and you can choose colored cardstock or anything you want. So for the box cuts, you're going to score at 2 inches and at 6 inches. And once you get those scored, those will create the box part of your card. Now for the bridge pieces, you are going to score all 3 of these at 1/2 inch and then a 4.5 inch. So it's basically a 1/2 inch on each side. And so you're going to do that for all 3 of your pieces. And those are going to be glued on the inside of those box cuts. So now that we have these all scored, we're going to go ahead and start gluing these together. So I'm just going to fold and use my bone folder right along those scored lines. And you're going to see how they just glue right together. So they form a little box. Before I glue those pieces together, I am going to add the decorative layers, and I've already stamped a sentiment on that pattern paper, sending oodles and poodles of love, and I'm just centering it on there. You can add multiple layers. I just did the white cardstock with the decorative layer for the squares and the rectangle in the front. I do like to use the liquid glue. I feel like that works the best. And you just want to, it gives you a little time to get those pieces on there perfectly straight, and you just want to make sure that you push down and let it dry. I'm going to add glue to the smaller fold, and then just glue those 2 pieces together. So you're going to have the smaller fold on each end, and so I'm going to add glue again to the smaller fold, and then just fold that right on over. and that forms the base and the box for your card. So I'm going to go ahead and glue the back of my card to the back side of my box, and that's going to go on the outside so that it looks seamless. It won't be seamless on the inside, but you're not going to be able to tell once you have your card all decorated. So now that I have that on there, I'm going to go ahead and add my layers. So for the back, I'm just going to go ahead and glue my sentiment piece there. And I do like to smooth out the glue using my bone folder, and that also helps it to dry quicker. I'm going to add this little grassy hill. You're not going to really see it too much, but I thought that that would add just a little bit of that green towards the back of the card. And then I'm going to glue that on the inside there, and that's going to cover that seam there in the middle from the back piece. And then once you get all those layers in there, you're not going to, it's going to appear seamless. This also reinforces the card, and it gives you a nice strong card base. So it's coming along, and then now it's time to add those little bridges. So we have them scored at 1/2 inch on each side, and I'm just going to use my bone folder to get those nice and creased. These are going to be the supports for all of the poodles and the grass and the little layers that we're going to be adding. So I'm just going to add some glue to the outside of those little bridge pieces, and I'm going to hold it to the front of my card base, and I'm going to hold it flush at the top and the front, and then just line that up. And then if you just fold it down, it's going to help it dry straight. And there is the first little bridge. So for the second bridge, I'm going to go to the back of the card and do the same exact thing. Push it so that it's flush to the top and the back of the card, and then I'll fold it down to get that glue flattened and those pieces put in there nice and straight. For this last piece, and since this cardstock is a little bit on the thicker side, I'm going to need to trim it just a bit so that it centers in between those two bridges. And so after I put the glue on there, I remember that I wanted to trim that, and so then I'm going to just grab my scissors and cut a sliver off on each side. And that's going to help it to center a little bit more in the center. And so now I'm going to flush it up to that back bridge and as well to the top of the card. And then I'm going to have the 3 little bridges going across. So you can do just 2. You don't have to do 3. You can even cut them smaller and put 4, depending upon how many different layers you wanted to put in your card. And so I'm using the 3, and then also the front counts as 1 as well. Now, how cute are these little poodles? I stamped them and colored with my Copics. I also colored these little flowers, and I have the little grass pieces ready and the little mushroom piece, and there I'm showing you just how I'm going to glue all these to those little reinforcement pieces, is what I like to call them. So I'm just going to add some glue. I want the mushrooms to go in the front, so I'm going to add that to the first piece, and then I'm just going to trim the excess grass off, because the grass is a little bit longer than that reinforcement piece, which is just shy of the 4 inches. It's like 3 15/16 inches, because it's going to sit right on the inside of my 4-inch card. So you want it to be just shy of 4 inches so that it goes in there nice and flush. See how it fits right in there? And so I'm going to do that for all the rest of these pieces, the rest of the reinforcement pieces. I'm going to glue the grass and trim the sides, trim off that excess, and build my little scene. So the grass I cut out using green cardstock, and then I also used some distress inks for dimension. And I did that all off camera so that this video wouldn't be too long. Here you can see I glued the flowers to the back. And for the poodles, I just added a little piece of white cardstock as an extension of the stamp pieces so that I could glue it to the back of those little reinforcement pieces. So now I'm just planning out where I want to put all the poodles. And so this little girl here is going to go in the back. So I don't want her to stretch out over the edge of the grass, because when the card folds, she can't be sticking out too much farther than that grass or it won't fit in the envelope. So here are all of the poodles and the flowers and the grass pieces all put together, and that's how they're going to just slide right in. And I'm going to glue the front panels and then stick it right behind those little bridge pieces. And then that also helps to reinforce your card and make it a little bit sturdier. So nothing is flimsy, nothing's wobbling around. It's nice and secure, and it feels really very well made, I would say. If you use too thin cardstock, things kind of flop around a little bit, so I like to use the thicker cardstock. So the next little poodle, the little one laying down, is going to go in the front. Now you can't really see the flowers in the very back unless you're looking from the side, but that's okay because it's dimension and you get to see something different from every angle that you're looking at. And there is the center poodle, and then for the front piece with the little mushrooms, I'm going to flush that right to the front of the card. And that's it. That's basically the card. And then I'm going to fold it over to secure it and have that glue dry and those pieces be straight. But now all I'm going to do is just add a little sparkle and gemstones. So I did that. I added some gemstones and some sparkle to the bows and for the finishing touch, and that completes my card. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Here is the original card that I made a few weeks back that I got requests to do a tutorial. So here it is. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you liked my projects, and check out the products at the store. The links are going to be in the description box below. Again, I thank you for your time, and I hope you all have a fantastic day. And until next time, everyone, happy crafting. Bye for now.